Jazzy Gems. And today we gonna do something a little different. Now we gonna do the comedy, okay? Cause you know I'm a whole comedian, right? So let's do this. I got something for you. So it's a hard knock life. You know it and I know it. But everybody has not came to the realness that they went to this school. See, some people want to put on a facade and pretend that they are doing better than you. Some people want to put on a facade and pretend that they don't go through things that you go through, right? And that's okay, because I'm not here for those people that don't go through things. I'm here to talk to you that went to Hard Knock University. So, what is the Hard Knock Life University? First of all, Hard Knock Life University, greetings. Hard Knock Life University is exactly what it sounds like. It is a university full of people that have to learn things the hard way. They have to learn things through the hard knock. They have to learn things from experience. They have to learn things through trial and error. They have to learn things through tribulations. So, welcome to the School of Hard Knock Life University. So, I wanted to explain my experience when I went to this school. So, the first thing is the school, they send you an invitation, but the invitation that they send, it's not a formal invitation. You see, it don't have your name on it. It does not have the name of the school that you are going to on it. It does not have the date when you start. It does not have the classes detailed that you will take. Meanwhile, it just shows up one day. It just kind of happened, It's just like and scene. So next thing you know, you hear somebody say and scene, and you're looking around confused, trying to figure out who said and scene. Next thing you know, you are a student in the Hard Knock Life University. Yes, you are a full student. The crazy thing, you don't even know that you in this school. You don't know that you got a schedule. You don't know it's an agenda. You don't know it's teachers and professors. You trying to still figure out what's going on, right? So you start meeting your professors, right? Now the professors, they don't introduce themselves like, hey, how you doing? No. They just show up and start teaching you shit. But they don't. But the way they start teaching you stuff, because the first teacher that I met was Professor Happy. You know, so when I met Professor Happy, it was a good feeling. It was a good energy exchange. I was like, I'm happy. Professor happy. We happy. We're good, right? Well, baby, let me tell you something. That is when Professor Sorrow shows up and teaches you about sorrow. Why Happy is teaching. See, I told you they don't even formally introduce themselves, let alone they don't even explain to you that you're supposed to be learning something. Cause I didn't know I was learning how to be happy, and then sorrow interrupted my happy lesson. Yes, sorrow did, honey. Sorrow interrupted my happy lesson. Sorrow came real hard, baby. Sorrow brung blues with him. Sorrow brung depression with him. Sorrow even brung death with him. Cause death come in threes. Let me show you how sorrow come through. Cause baby, when I told you I got something for you, I wasn't lying. Honey, let me show you how sorrow come through. Cause I told you I should have put a trigger warning on here. Cause this video is for real people that been through real shit. You feel me? So this one of them lessons that sorrow teaches you. Once again, like I told you, you don't know that you in a hard knock life university, right? So therefore, you are not prepared for these lessons that they get ready to teach you. You not prepared for this. Meanwhile, you going to funerals. And most of the time, death come in threes. So you getting ready to go to about 3 funerals that you did not plan to go to. These funerals is finna throw you off your square. You gonna be like, first of all, I didn't have the money set aside for this. Second of all, this was not in the financial plan. Now your finances is jacked up because you got to go pay for the funeral, right? Because you wasn't expecting this to happen, right? So now you got to go find flowers. You got to go get an outfit to go to the funeral. Now you got to raise all this money for this casket. You didn't even know that it cost this much money to die. Now you in a different type of school because now you like, damn, I can't even afford to die because it costs so much money. So now life is looking different for you, right? I'm just telling you, I went to the Hard Knock Life University. So just keep in mind, you just had to go to these little funerals. You don't know how you gonna pay for these funerals, honey. You over here. First of all, you dealing with the emotions that you lost somebody. You grieving, right? Okay, so grieving is a process. Grieving actually takes a lot of energy out of you. But you don't have time to learn about the grieving process because you got these bills coming in. You know what I'm saying? So these bills steady coming in, they piling up, your car note due, they talking about they coming to get your car, your house note due, they talking about you gonna have to move. You know what I'm saying? Not to mention that funeral that you paying for. You gotta make payments on that, right? Okay, so now you making payments on these funerals, the car, the house. You just trying to stay afloat, right? Because you in Hard Knock Life University. See, I told you started out happy. You started out cool. Next thing you know, some unexpected deaths done came your way. Baby, an unexpected car accident. Honey, like, I'm just saying, your car could break down. Life happens. It be unexpected things that happen to you that throw you off your square. This is Hard Knock Life University. It happens to the best of us. So, honey, look. So now you all up in your feelings, right? Cause you all this stuff is just happening. Your heart broke. Look at you. You just out here just, oh God, don't nobody love me. That's how you out here feeling. You going through all these emotions. You was happy. Now you going through heartbreak. Now you going through the grieving process. Now you going through suffering. Now you going through not having. Now you don't know how you gonna pay your bills. You hungry. You out here suffering. You don't know what you gonna do. You don't know how you gonna do it. You just, baby, you out here lost, honey. You out here, depression done kicked in. You feel what I'm saying? Because depression happened to the best of us, honey. Baby, you don't want to go nowhere. You don't want to do nothing. People getting mad at you because these feelings are taking over your life. Despair. I told you. Look at you. You can't even see the whole picture, but honey, she pouring a drink. Because it get that bad. Hard knock life can happen. Next thing you know, you pour a drink one day. Next thing you know, you's a full blown alcoholic. It happens to people. You understand? Now this became people coping mechanism. People use alcohol to cope with things, right? So let me show you something else. I don't know how TikTok gonna feel about it, but baby, it get bad. It get bad, baby. I'm here to tell the truth. It gets bad. Some people start using other things as coping mechanisms. You know what I'm saying? Like folk be trying to cope the best way they can because they in these toxic ass relationships. You know what I'm saying? Looking for love. You know, folk is, you had to think about this, right? Not to mention if you came from a toxic ass, broken ass household. So if you came from this, you know, a broken, toxic environment, where do you go to begin your healing process? If you grew up in a toxic house, a toxic environment, a toxic neighborhood, you grew up around toxic people, because look at your friends. Look at your family and your friends. You can't even confide in them because they sitting up gossiping about you. They sitting up cracking jokes about you, telling everybody your business, making you the laughing stock of the family, of the neighborhood, of the community, of whatever. But whatever it is, these people make you feel bad than what you already feel. Like damn, because that's betrayal. Like I can't even confide in you. I can't even sit and tell you my deepest, darkest secrets. I can't even tell you what I'm going through because you gonna judge me, you gonna laugh at me, you gonna talk to people who don't even like me. Right? So this is how people end up on top of buildings wanting to jump. This is how people end up feeling despair. This is how people feel like there is no other way because they've been through the betrayal. They've been through getting laughed at and mocked by their own flesh and blood. Because once the closest people in your circle betray you, then what do you have left? Right? So all of these are lessons that you are being taught in the Hard Knock Life University. See, that sorrow that you was going through taught you a lot of things. Let me explain something about that sorrow. Yes, I got your house in here. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Uh-huh. And I say that because those of us that had to go through things in our life, like real people that actually went through real situations, and I'm talking about something just happens in your life one day and it just throws you completely off your square. And this is real life for some of us. And yes, this is a mess right here on this picture. This is a hot ass mess. But let me explain to you, as above, so below. Honey, when your mind is messed up because of what you've been through, when your heart is all over the place because of what you've been through, when your thoughts are all over the place because of what you've been through, you have to go and ground yourself. You have to go and get a peace of mind so you can pull yourself together, because this is what ends up happening, honey. This ends up happening to the best of us. You know, it happens to us. Yes, we're going to hide our household. Yes, we're going to make people stand outside. Yes, we're not going to let people come in. We're not going to let people see us living like this. Why? Because people going to take pictures. People going to have your ass on Facebook. People going to have your ass on Instagram. People going to have your ass plastered all over social media. People can't wait to see you doing bad like this so they can expose that you doing bad to take the attention off of them. That's what people do, because people don't like to deal with their own shit, so they want to expose your shit. So because your shit is right here in plain sight. You get what I'm saying? So this becomes a representation of your mindset. This becomes a representation of how you feel. This becomes a representation of the many days of you not being present. Many days of you not healing yourself. Many days of you procrastinating. Many days of you laying around in your own sorrow. Many days of you being lost, overstimulated, stressed out. It happens to the best of us. But let me explain to you why you in this mess. That you are in the Hard Knock Life University, because you are learning stuff while you are in this. Hopefully nobody's situation get this bad, but some people's situation has gotten worse than this. So it don't matter, because I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to judge you on how did your living room get like this? How did your house get like this? How did you get like that? I understand one day some shit happened. And it was a chain of events. And sometimes you get lost and you lose your way. And I understand that. But what I want you to understand is there is a hard knock life university. And I want you to understand that that sorrow you going through, it is not for you to lay there and be depressed. It's not for you to lay down and be defeated. That sorrow that you're going through is what is teaching you how strong you really are. Those are obstacles that are designed to show you how strong you are, like the Olympics, jumping over hurdles, you know, like swimming laps, like being able to run and take and pass the torch on to the next opponent. This is what these these trials and tribulations are coming into your life to teach you. They're teaching you your strength. They're teaching you how you don't give up. They're teaching you how you have to keep going and you have to live another day no matter what. And you know that's your that resilience that you find to live another day, that is the same resilience. That is the same exact resilience that's gonna help you win. Why? Because it was those things that you had to go through in order to find that strength. So that now that you have earned that strength, you use that strength. You use that strength to clean up this mess. You use that strength to come back harder. You use that strength to guide yourself out of all the things that you didn't understand. Because that's what that mess is. That mess is just a misunderstanding. Honey, that mess was, because you got to think, when we have these messes like this is neglect issues. Neglect issues come, like a lot of us had neglect issues as a child, but some of us did not address or work through those neglect issues until somebody passed away. When somebody passed away, that triggers neglect issues. Why? Because the moment you standing at that casket and you are realizing that you will never see, talk to, or be able to politic with this person again, you realize that do something to your brain, and it reminds you of the neglect that you went through. Whoever you separated from when you was a child and you had your neglect issues from, because a lot of us have neglect issues from being a child. It can be a parent that wasn't there. It can be a friend that moved away. It can be a grandparent that passed away. It could be any form of neglect. But I'm telling you, when somebody passes away that you close to, it triggers them neglect and abandonment issues. And when you have those abandonment issues and those neglect issues already present in yourself, honey, it's gonna come out. So this is how you end up neglecting yourself. This is how you end up not washing your hair, not combing your hair, not brushing your teeth. This is how you end up laying on the couch being depressed. Greetings, sis. Yeah, this is how you end up on the couch depressed. You know, 1 week done turned into 2 weeks, 2 weeks done turned into 6 months, 6 months done turned into 2 years. You laying on that couch, feeling sorry for yourself, depressed. You ain't cleaned up in 2 years. This is what it looked like. Yes, you could sit here and be like, that's nasty, but have you been through something that make you lay on the couch like that? Have you been through something that makes you neglect your livelihood? Have you ever been through something that make you want to lay on that couch? Cause I'm telling you, I done been through a hard knock life. I've been through real shit. That's why I got the pictures like I do to show you, like anger. Let me tell you something. This one of the teachers down at the Hard Knock Life University. Anger. Yeah. And honey, look at all these people that anger come with. Anger got the audacity to hang around with embarrassed. You feel me? So when anger come and dwell at your house, you gonna be embarrassed about some shit. Why? Cause anger gonna have you out here embarrassing your damn self. That's what anger do. Anger roll with embarrassed. Anger roll with scared. Anger roll with weary, rejected. You see all these damn people anger with. So when you letting anger operate out your life, anger bringing all these damn people with them. You feel me? So now the people answering your phone and shit, you don't even know who disrespect is. Disrespect answering your phone and shit. People think you disrespectful. You like it wasn't me. Anger had brung all these people over here disrespectful over here answering the phone, you know, crazy over here talking to people all crazy. I don't know what's going on. I'm just over here trying to understand why my house look like this. You know, cause you sitting in the living room trying to figure out why your shit look like this. Meanwhile, anger, disrespect, depression, sadness, you know, all these old crazy ass people all at your house and shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just telling you because I really been through shit. And I'm sick of people who think they shit don't stink. And they like to talk about people that go through stuff like they ain't never went through nothing. You know? And I just want people to know, damn it, we is all a situation away from being in the damn psych ward, bro. Real speak. People like to tell me that I'm crazy because I say that. But let me tell you something. I bring this up all the time. I will never forget when somebody told me your brother is no longer with us. That's how they told me. Exactly how they worded it. Like when somebody told me my brother is no longer breathing, this is how I acted, bro. I wasn't worried about being cute. I wasn't worried about tax brackets. I wasn't worried about um it's gonna end up on social media. I wasn't worried about what is people in the future gonna say. I wasn't worried about what my friends from when I was little was gonna think about it. Bruh, this is how the hell I acted when I heard my brother is not in his body no more. This is how I responded. This is, you see the foot in the air kicking. This is me. This not me on the picture, but I'm saying when they told me my brother was no longer living, this was my response. I just want you to understand. Somebody could tell you something and you could flip out. I'm telling you, it be an unexpected death. It be an unexpected fire. It be an unexpected situation that can happen to you. Real spill. And you could be in a psych ward that quick. That quick. You know, I don't know why we think, like, I don't know why we think it take all of that to be there. You know what I'm saying? So, oh yeah, I brought some more images. This is a you see they holding hands behind his back, right? Okay, because I want you to know this type of shit happen in life for real. You know, you could find out the person that you thought really love you, you could find out that they creeping behind your back with somebody else that love you. You know, it's shit that goes on in life that is unscripted. It is shit that go on in life that people can't even tell you what happened because they afraid of the gossip, the shame, the despair, being judged. So people take secrets to their graves all the time. Why? Because they don't want to be judged. But people are dealing with scenarios that could send your ass postal, that can make you be in a psych ward. I'm just letting you know that people really dealing with stuff out here. You know, people really dealing with trust issues. People dealing with betrayal. People are really dealing with overdue bills. People are dealing with things in their life that they cannot always advertise to other people. Why? Because other people talk about you, drag you through the mud, tell everybody what you're going through, tell them only bits and pieces of the story. Hey, you out here looking bad and shit. You know what I'm saying? So you would just go through it on your own. You would just go through it and don't even want to ask for help. That's messed up. That's messed up, y'all. That there is so many low frequency ass people running around here that you would rather just go through shit on your own. You just rather just bite the bullet on your own initiative. You don't even want to ask for help. You don't want to ask for advice. You don't even want to cry out and tell somebody you going through something. Why? Because you don't want to be judged. You more worried about being judged than you worried about getting some damn help. Now that's crazy. I can't focus on the getting help part, but I'm focused on who gonna find out, who gonna tell them, how they gonna tell them, who gonna judge me. Is they still gonna like me after they find this out? What people gonna say when they find, like the judgment is real. Like, damn, why I just can't go through stuff? Why I can't go through depression and it just be depression? Why I gotta go through my depression with judgment? Why I gotta go through my grieving process with judgment? Why I got everything, like, why everything I gotta go through with all this judgment? Like, what is that about? Why I can't just go through my stuff and heal? You know what I'm saying? But cause I'm explaining. Let me tell you something. I'ma be the first to say it, cause I like to tell my own damn business. I don't want nobody telling my business. I like to tell my own damn business. But with me, 20 years ago, I already had issues, but my brother getting unalive did not help my issues. It brought them out. So when my brother was unalive when I was 20 years old, that brung out a bunch of emotional triggers that I did not even know that I had. Okay? So once that triggered, it started a domino effect. So when the domino effect, that's one domino pushes over the next domino. Before you know it, all the dominoes laying on the down. Every domino done fell. Every domino was touched. Every domino was affected. And this happens really quickly because all you know is one domino touch your shoulder. Next thing you know, it's a ripple effect. Okay, so my brother's passing away brung out my abandonment issues. It brung out my um, neglect issues. It brung out my my root chakra was definitely affected. My root chakra was disturbed. Let me explain to you what that means, because you might don't know what it means. Let me explain to you. So your root chakra deals with your security. Your root chakra deals with your sense of being safe, of being grounded, of being able to grow. Because once you are grounded and planted inside fertile soil, honey, you could plant some roots and the roots can grow and you could evolve and be a beautiful tree. But baby, let's say if you can't put your roots down because you're that's not fertile soil. So if you're not on fertile soil, you can't really get rooted, right? Because you're not rooted to anything, right? So that's what it means when you are not safe, when you're not rooted to anything. Do that make sense to you? Okay, so when you're not attached to nothing, you're not going to feel safe. You gonna feel like you gonna fall because you're not attached to anything, right? So you cannot live your life not being attached to something. Why? Because you're constantly wondering, am I going to fall? You're constantly questioning your next step. You don't even got faith in your next step. Why? Because you don't know if it's ground on that step. You don't know where you stepping at. You know. So it's like I understand we walk by faith and you can't see your next step. But I have to be grounded to know that I could take another step. When the ground has been removed from up under me, that makes it difficult for me to take steps. So a lot of us, our root chakra becomes affected. So when your root chakra is affected, that is emotionally disturbed, honey. So when you become emotionally disturbed, it is difficult to take another step. Why? Because you're in a state of disarray. You in a state of chaos. You in a state of not knowing if you coming or going. It is difficult to take a next step, especially the next step on the right path in the right direction, because you don't even you chaotic right now, right? So when a lot of our root chakra has been affected and we are no longer feeling safe within our own being. So when you don't feel safe within yourself, you're going to procrastinate. You're going to linger. You're going to avoid what you need to be doing. You're going to be afraid. You're going to live in fear. You're going to operate out of fear. And this is what can happen. Why? Because you procrastinate. So from day to day, your priorities is not cleaning up my house. Your priorities is to procrastinate because you're running from something. Because you're in flight or fight mode. When you're in flight or fight mode, you are not focused on your best intentions. You are not focused on making your next move your best move. Honey, you are in flight or fight mode. Honey, you don't know if you going to fly or if you resting because you got to fly later. So when you are constantly in that fight or flight mode, there is no justice, there is no peace. So you have to think somebody else that's living in peace, somebody else that's living in tranquility, somebody else that got they mind made up. They not living in a fight or flight mode. They're not they not in that state of mind that you in. So yes, if they come over your house, yes, they're gonna say your house needs to be cleaned up. Yes, they're gonna say you need to do this, you need to do that. Yes, their priorities are different from yours. Why? Because they're not in fight or flight mode. You are. You understand? When you are fight and flight mode, washing dishes is not your concern. Why? Because you have a fight or flight. You are fighting some shit. You are in warrior mode. You ain't worried about no dishes. You fighting shit. You might be fighting the temptation not to do drugs. You might be fighting the temptation not to have another drink. You might be fighting the temptation to stay in the house and not be out on the streets. You don't know what type of fight that you are fighting. But honey, all your energy is being absorbed in that fight. Your energy is not worried about cleaning up the house. You are mentally insane right now. You are having a mental moment right now. You fighting demons and you in the spiritual realm doing spiritual things. So yes, your physical things get neglected. I told you it was a neglect issue going on here, right? It's a abandonment issue going on here, right? Because you dealing with spiritual things, right? So if you dealing with your abandonment issues, you dealing with your neglect issues, you dealing with who wasn't there when they left you, how they left you, you dealing with the emotions that you didn't get to express, all of that you going through, your feelings and your emotions that you haven't sorted through. When you dealing with these deep feelings and deep emotions, nobody is trying to go wash dishes, man. I've been there, I've done it. I had an aunt. One of my aunts actually passed away, and her house looked like this. Now, when she was living, we was not allowed in her house. Why? Because she didn't want to get judged. She didn't want nobody talking about her and looking at her sideways because this how her house was looking. But meanwhile, the woman was fighting demons. Meanwhile, the woman was going through things in her flesh. She was going through things in her reality. Every night when that woman would go in her house, she was fighting something. She was fighting something when she woke up in the morning. She was fighting something throughout the day. So whatever it is that she was fighting ended up taking her life and took her up out of here. But what she was fighting was stronger than her washing dishes. It was stronger than her cleaning up the kitchen, because you and I would think just clean up. I used to watch hoarders all the time, and I used to be like, why they just don't clean up? Bruh, because something mentally is wrong. You have to understand, when you are dealing with depression, when you're dealing with mental illness, when you're dealing with neglect issues, abandonment issues, when you're dealing with um living in shame, when you're dealing with your issues that you have that went unresolved, these issues are going to come up in your life. And if you do not gain knowledge and learn about these things that you're going through, these things will take you out. I'm telling you what I know. You have to learn about what you're going through. And I say that too because I am a survivor of being essayed at a young age. I was essayed at a young age. So being essayed at a young age actually makes your hormones unbalanced. They say that medically, unbalanced hormones is depression. So at this young age, I was dealing with depression. Whether it was clinically diagnosed or not, I was dealing with the depression. Why? Because there was a chemical imbalance that was at a very young age. So, yes, the chemical imbalance has it has a effect on brain development. It has a it has an effect on your chemical balance, because when you become a teenager, what makes you a teenager is your hormones. And your hormones are chemicals. And those chemicals start to come in during your adolescent ages. But if you are a child that is essayed, that chemical starts kicking in before it is time. So this is how children become developed physically before they develop mentally. So when you are running around here physically developed more than you are mentally developed, you could call somebody, you could say somebody slow because they call them fast, but you could say they slow. Why? Because their body is literally growing up quicker than their mind. So this is how you have these women that are built like, or these girls that are built like grown women. But in the man, they still a little girl. Because they learned how to use their bodies before they learned how to use their minds. So if you learned how to use your body before you learned how to use your mind, this is going to cause you to go through some of these things. Why? Because learning how to use your body at a young age is going to stimulate a whole nother set of issues. You know? So when you get to stimulating these other issues, you stimulating, first of all, when people see that you was taken advantage of at a young age, guess what? People continue to take advantage of you in other ways. Because people can see that in you. Predators can see that they can take advantage of you. So if you was a person that got taken advantage of at a young age, 9 times out of 10, unless you recognize that pattern and broke it, you still getting taken advantage of today. Why? Because that's a lesson that you learn in Hard Knock Life University. You have to learn in Hard Knock Life University not to let people take advantage of you. Why? Because people been taking advantage of you since you got here, taking you up top. And when people take advantage of you, that makes you feel like this room look. Do y'all not understand when people houses look like this? This is a representation of how these people are feeling. You have to think about that. People are not allowed to express how they feel. People not allowed to say how they feel. People not allowed to have feelings. And then so people, this is what people do. They don't have no control over their situations or their circumstances, but they can control their stuff. If you go watch Hoarders, you will notice that the people on the Hoarders, when the people come to help them clean up their house, the people be like, no, 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 I want all of this. I want this box. I need this. I need that. Don't throw nothing away. It's not that they want that stuff, it's about control. They don't have no control in their life. You have to think about this. Some of us grew up with no control. I remember, like, my, oh my goodness. I remember growing up. My grandma had control over me. I remember, like, control, she controlled, what she said goes. But that was like my mama. You know what I'm saying? And I remember, like, even down to raising my daughters. Like, when I first had my daughter, my daddy said, that's your baby. And whatever type of child you raise, that's the type of person this baby gonna become. And he said, this not your mama baby. This not your grandma baby. This your baby. And I remember when my daddy told me that that was my baby, that was my child. I remember, like, my grandmother had a lot to say, but I remember when I wanted to homeschool my children, and I had told my grandmother, and my grandma was like, no, you not gonna do that, because my grandma had a say in my life. My grandma would tell me I'm not gonna do this and I'm not gonna do that. And I remember when I was younger, I used to have an attitude. I used to be angry. I used to be mad. I used to be bitter. But I wouldn't dare open my mouth up and say nothing. I wouldn't dare talk back. I wouldn't, because I was raised like that. You don't talk back, yes ma'am, no ma'am, You don't question what she say, none of that shit. I got raised like that. But when I got older and I started going through stuff and having my own bills and living my own life and realizing stuff on my own, I would do what she want me to do, but I would end up angry because I was being a people pleaser. I was doing what everybody wanted me to do, but I was angry for real because I ain't doing what I want to do. And I remember the day I had to stand up to my grandma, and I never forget it. When I homeschooled my children and I told my grandma, I say, I'm about to homeschool my children. She say, no, you not. You gonna take them children back up there to them school. And I remember I had to tell my grandma, like, Granny, I'm not being disrespectful. I love you, but you had your own children. And your children went to school. And look at your children. And I wasn't being disrespectful or nothing, but none of my aunts and like, let me raise my children the way I raise my children. Because you got to raise your children. You got your opportunity to do what you was gonna do. This is my opportunity. This is my chance to do something different. And I want to raise mine different because as I'm looking around at everybody that was raised the way I was raised, I don't see nobody doing nothing that's winning. I don't see nobody doing nothing that's winning. Yes. Right, can like it be that kind of stuff though. You know what I'm saying? Cause even with me with having children, I probably would have more children too, but we was controlled. We wasn't allowed to be ourselves. I remember I used to be jealous of people. Like y'all, I really used to be jealous of people that got to be themselves. You know, people that was free. I thought they was free. People that just did what they wanted to do because they wanted to do it. I was jealous of them type of people because I couldn't do that. I didn't have no control over my life. You know, I got told what I could do, what I can't do, who I could do it with, who I can't do it with. You know, I got told I was being controlled. Not to mention, I grew up in the church. That was controlling. The family was controlling. You know, and one day I just broke away. One day I did. I just broke away. I did because I was tired of the judgment. I was tired of, like I always having to answer to somebody. I always having to explain myself to somebody. Like, this is my life. Why am I explaining my decisions and my choices to somebody? If I make a bad decision or if I make a bad choice, I'm the only one that got to live with it. So how is everybody else dictating what I do? You know what? I'm going to live my life because everybody else got a life. Ain't nobody dictating their life. And nobody gonna be dictating mine. And that's when I made a decision that I was gonna live my own life. And I started making decisions for myself and I started liberating myself. And liberation is not easy because on your journey to liberation, you gonna find out how many people are not free. I mean, I'm telling you what I know. You're going to find out how many people are not free when you begin liberating yourself. You're going to see who really free. Because you're going to have people that are coming up against you when you start walking the road to freedom. You're going to have people that's going to raise up against you and tell you that they don't want you to leave. Why? Because you're going to realize that these people never left. And they've been keeping you held down the whole time. You know? And it's like, listen, the way you leave is about working on yourself. That's why you here in Hard Knock Life University. That's one thing I know for sure. I am in Hard Knock University. This is an illusion. They want you to really think when you come here that this your mama, this your daddy, this your sister, this your brother, this your aunt, your uncle, and all these folk that claim they somebody to you. And what ends up happening? You start living up to these people expectations of you. You start trying to please these people. You start breaking your neck, bending over backwards to appease these people. Meanwhile, these are all tests to see if you're gonna be true to yourself. I had to learn that because on this journey, one thing I learned by losing my father, I lost my father on this journey, and I lost that. I learned that that's just my father here on earth. That's just my father for this lifetime. He has he the man, the soul that was playing my father character, because it was the soul that was playing the character of my father. But that soul that was playing the character of my father is the soul that always will be and always has been. Now, this soul is tricky because this soul can come in the form, shape of many different people. And when this soul come in the form and the shape of many different people, you can fall for the illusion that it's not the soul. And see, when you give this the soul character its own character, and you let that character get out of hand, because you the one forgot that this is a character. That's all it is. It's a soul. Every soul is playing a role in your life. They characters. Everybody that's in your life was sent as a character because it was something that it was something they supposed to bring out of you. Everybody got a role. Even if it's the little messy girl down the street, if her role is to come and throw an egg at your porch, that's her role. Everybody got a role. And we got to stop losing ourselves in these characters or getting lost in people characters because everybody is playing a role. That is it and that is all. People are playing roles. Why? Because this is a script. Life is a script. We supposed to come here to Hard Knock Life University to learn these lessons. And these lessons have to be taught by characters. So these characters sign these soul contracts. And they say, I go down there and be such and such mama. I go down there and be such and such aunt. I'm going to go down there and be such and such enemy. I'm going to go down there and be such and such neighbor. But whatever character you signed up to play a role in my life, when you signed up to play a role in my life, you also signed up that you was going to help me learn a lesson. Whether the lesson was you was going to teach me to control my anger, whether you was going to teach me, what anger is. Maybe you was going to teach me what love ain't. You feel me? Yes, Empress. Because people do. They come in your life to teach you stuff. And sometimes we take the shit personal. We do. We be like, oh my God, that's my mama. Oh my God, that's my brother. But you don't understand. That's my sister. But they characters that's supposed to teach you a lesson. So if I can get past the role that they playing, I could pay attention to the character. See, when I be focused on the role, because you might be my sister and you might have to teach me what love ain't. You might be my brother and you might have to teach me what strength isn't. You might be my grandma and you might have to teach me what patience is not. I'm just saying, everybody come and teach you something. So you got to start paying attention to people's roles and quit focusing on their characters. Because when you be focused on the character, you ain't paying attention to the role that they playing in your life. These folk coming here to teach you something. That's why in the Bible, Jesus was going off on everybody and Jesus was like, I don't got no mama and I don't got no daddy. Why? Because Jesus understood these people is playing roles in my life. These people came here to teach me something. I'm not going to take this shit personal. I'm going to learn the lesson that these folk trying to teach me and keep it pushing. We the ones put all that emotional stuff into it. We want to, oh, that's my sister. Oh, that's my brother. Oh, that's... Look, that is a character that's playing a role in my life. Now, I need to understand what character they playing and what the role is. And I need to focus That's all this is. I can't be getting personal. When I get personal, I get emotionally, I get mushy, I get all emotionally attached. Then I miss the lesson. Why? Because now I'm too emotionally invested to learn the lesson. I need to pay attention to the lesson. If you came here to teach me how to love myself, I need to learn that. I can't be worried about who you supposed to be. I'm supposed to be focused on the lesson you teaching. I don't care what your costume look like, bro. That's cool. This flesh is costumes, y'all. It's costumes. Some people is playing roles as your mama and your daddy and your aunt and your cousin, and it's costumes, people. We the soul. Don't get shit twisted. You is in the Hard Knock Life University. You came here to learn. You came here to learn about happiness from happiness. You came here to learn about depression from depression. You came here to learn about every emotion that flows through your body. Why? Because the emotions are going to flow through you. They going to introduce themselves. They going to tell you why they there. Now, that's your job not to be emotionally invested, but learn the lesson, people. Don't get caught up on that's my cousin. Bro, your cousin is playing a role. Did you learn the lesson? Because your cousin came down here on the soul contract to teach you that shit. Did you learn it? We need to learn our lessons. Because we too busy caught up on who playing the roles. No, we need to learn the lessons, people. We are in Hard Knock Life University. And here we're going to learn about happiness, sadness. We're going to learn about all of our emotions from the emotions themselves. The emotions are going to teach us themselves. They're going to teach us what it feel like to be whatever. So we going to learn firsthand what it feel like to be angry, what it feel like to be sad, what it feel like when people steal from you, what it feel like when people lie on you, what it feel like when people steal your shit and help you look for it. We gonna learn about all that. Why? Because we supposed to be here. That's what we came here to do, to learn these lessons. So now we gotta learn these lessons. And some of us can't learn our lessons because we mad about who taught us. We mad about the technique that they used. We mad, that they taught the lesson too good. We complaining about the wrong shit. Well, the person that taught me anger, they used a little too much anger, and now I know anger really, really good because it was too much anger used in my anger lesson. No, you was supposed to learn about anger. Now, did you learn your lesson? Because you can't be at the office talking about the teacher used too much anger when they was teaching you anger. You can't come in here and say that the depression teacher used too much depression when they was teaching you about depression. Did you learn the lessons? So, with this being said, we got some homework. Yep. You, and you. We got homework. Yeah, on here. So what I want you to do for homework, because we're going to talk about it tomorrow, okay? Tomorrow here, me and you on YouTube. What we're going to do, I want you to write a list of your teachers. I want you to make it funny, though, right? Make it funny, because I don't want you all in your feelings, okay? I want you to make it funny. Like you telling a funny story. Like, I want you to make it as funny as possible. And the reason I want you to make it as funny as possible is because in your Bible it says that God has a sense of humor. So you God, and I need for you to use your sense of humor to do this healing technique. So for this healing technique, I want you to write down what lessons that you learned at the Hard Knock Life University. No, this a you thing. Nobody can't tell you what you learned, and nobody can't tell you what you didn't learn. So I want you to write down, if you learned anger, write that shit down. How did you learn about anger? Did anger teach you? How did anger teach you? Did anger just keep following you home? Or, you know, did anger just break in your house one day and was like, I ain't going nowhere? Like, tell me how you in anger, how did anger teach you? How did sadness teach you? How did depression teach you? What did you learn from these emotions? I want you to introduce the emotion that you met as your teacher, and I want you to explain the lesson that emotion taught you. Yeah, I want to see that on my desk tomorrow from you. And you really don't have to put it on my desk, but I really, really want to see you do this because you would be surprised what you had to overcome. You would be surprised when you turn it into an activity and you're able to laugh at yourself. That's healing, big growth. When you able to look at the circumstances that you had to come out of, when you able to look back at things that you had to learn, you able to turn this into a story that you can share with other people. You will have you a story time that you could actually share with other people, and they can laugh and they can learn from what you went through. So this is called your Hard Knock Life University experience. So I want to hear you write about your Hard Knock Life University experience. Um, I'm gonna do mine, and I'll share mine with y'all tomorrow. Okay, so we gonna start our healing process. It start with us. It start with changing your mind. It start with making a decision. It start with deciding. I don't know if y'all seen the live I did the other day called Dante's Inferno. But on that Dante's Inferno live, it show you how you get into hell. So now that we learned how you get into hell, we learning how to get out of hell. So we're learning in order to get out of hell, the way you get into hell is losing hope. So we have to build up hope so we don't end up in hell. So that means we got to create hope. So we have to speak life. That means we got to do these affirmation music. We have to do what we have to do, honey. If we got to clean this kitchen up one little box at a time, then that's what we got to do. This is not for people to judge us. This is for us to heal and overcome. This is for us to realize, you know. So happy healing. And I will talk to y'all beautiful souls real soon. Peace.